Death Stranding is one of the weirder games I've ever played. I decided to try it out with all the hype about Death Stranding 2 and it coming out in June. And I've always been a fan of Hideo Kojima. The Metal Gear Solid games are pristine. They're amazing. And so, based on that, I decided to give Death Stranding a try. I wasn't sure how the delivery simulator mixed with this kind of post-apocalyptic story was going to work, especially with someone as weird and out there as Kojima. But I gotta say, it all coalesced into an amazing package, if not a little inconsistent. What I mean by the inconsistency is the graphics, the story, the setting, the themes are all top-notch. Every single one of those aspects of the game really enhance the overall product and really draw you into a story that is super intriguing. From the first 5 minutes of the game, I was in. It is totally Kojima. It screams of, so many different layers, one on top of the other, so many intricacies of the story, and the characters are super cool too. They each have their own motivations, they each have their little quirks, and in true Kojima fashion, they are memorable. That is something that Kojima's always done well, going back to the Metal Gear franchises, and just having the boss like either the Pain or Psycho Mantis or Sniper Wolf or anything like that. Any of those characters are memorable, and Death Stranding definitely capitalizes on his strength for creating those characters. What I didn't really like about the game was the gameplay. While the landscapes and the setting is absolutely gorgeous and beautiful, the Decima engine really sings with this game. I didn't necessarily enjoy packing everything up onto my person or into a vehicle and driving across the landscape, having to potentially get off of whatever vehicle I'm on because there's BTs around. It didn't click for me. But because the story and the characters were so awesome, I was able to see it through to the end. As you progress through the game, of course you get items and equipment that make it easier to move around and to carry heavier loads, which is great. But I did find myself kind of rolling my eyes or sighing a little bit when I saw that I had to travel all the way across the continent in order to make a delivery. It just was something that wasn't my style of gameplay. But what kept me going was the story, was the characters, which I touched on already. One thing I really wish they would have done, and they kind of have something like this in the game, but I would really like a glossary of some kind, or like an encyclopedia type database where I can look up key phrases like BBs or BTs or void outs or something like that in order to really delve deep into the lore, try to remember what all of these terms mean, because they are thrown at you very quickly. They kind of touch on what they mean, like a repatriate and all these different things that make the game great. It's just someone like me who might get confused every once in a while on the different terminology. It'd be nice to be able to reference that terminology whenever I could in order to kind of refresh my memory on what certain things were. Now, with that said, they do have something like that in the game, but it's more in like a letter format from different people in different bunkers around the US. It's not necessarily a paint by the numbers alphabetical order type of glossary that you can run through. So maybe in the second one they have something like that. I truly doubt it, but it would be a nice little touch. Something that was cool, though, was the whole connecting of the U.S., the capital cities of the U.S., and paving the roads, gathering materials in order to pave those roads to make it easier, and seeing your hard work pay off and seeing the hard work of other people pay off. You're able to use different items or weapons or basically anything that you can think of in the game, you can get from other players and use to your advantage, which is a super cool concept. The one thing that truly is not very good, in my opinion, though, wasn't the traveling, it wasn't the delivery system. While I didn't like those very much, the one thing that I thought was not good at all was the combat. These forced combat situations, I did not like. The character and the setting for those forced combat sections is really cool and really interesting, but I just couldn't get into the gameplay of it all, and I'm hoping in the second game they can refine that a little bit more and either have it so those sections are better, or you just have a non-lethal, non-combat playthrough. But those are just my top level thoughts about the game. I'm super excited for the second game coming out in June. But let me know what y'all think down in the comments. Please like, subscribe, do all that jazz, and I'll see you guys in the next one.